Thank you very much. Hello, everybody. Good afternoon or good morning, depending on where you are in the world. Thanks for joining us. Today, we're going to take the next 60 minutes or so to talk about a very key topic in the industry right now, something you all are probably very focusing on very closely. Successful SD-WAN implementation for your business. Practical insights with myself, Jerry Caron. I'm the head of research at GlobalData, a market research and advisory firm in the telecom and IT markets. As well as with me are Rohan from Cisco. Hello, Rohan.
Hello.
And Franck Morales from Orange Business Services. Hello, Frank.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jerry.
Yes. So what we're going to do is we're going to have a Q&A, a sort of back and forth on the topics of SD-WAN. But first, I'm going to kick things off with a couple of minutes on our views from talking to enterprise customers worldwide, like yourselves, as well as companies we work with on the supplier side of things. Now, a note to the team here is that I'm having trouble moving the slides. So if anyone could perhaps help me with that while I forge ahead, that would be great. Yeah. Okay. Ready? Next slide. Yeah. Okay. I'm getting some instructions here. Thank you. Okay. There we go. Thank you very much, everybody. Sorry for the delay there. That's us, the people we're going to be speaking to. So let's move forward. The first thing I want to do is set the table by talking about what is all the hype about SD-WAN. Why is the industry so focused on it now? But actually, for the past couple of years, really, it's been building momentum steadily. It isn't just about perhaps less expensive network connectivity for branches or for other network sites. It's about a lot of other things, and it starts with flexibility and agility and increased capability and better business, better links with business strategies. So things about like easier operational management, better redundancy solutions and resiliency, the flexibility about flexibly defining and applying policies, better performance monitoring, better application performance, etc. All of these things together are what's driving interest in SD-WAN and why the market has exploded the way that it has, and I'll show you a little bit about that going forward. But in addition to that, and perhaps more importantly in some ways, is that the capability of software-defined wide area networking are really fundamental to supporting the other key initiatives in the tech sector at the moment. So if you think about the data-driven business or making the most of analytics and using analytics to drive business strategies, or if you think about increasing workloads, increasing movement of applications to the cloud and operating hybrid clouds and doing that in an effective way, if you think about the higher level objectives like customer experience and indeed edge moving applications to the edge, the types of things that 5G implies. All of this really, in a lot of ways, requires a more flexible, agile, wide area networking solution. If applications that are cloud-centric, for example, or that are being virtualized, will need to be changed. The network will need to be changed more often than they are today, and that means you have to rethink your network setup, and that drives software-defined wide area networking. So a couple of things that we see as critical features, or we hear from our enterprise customers as critical features for software-defined networking. It is ultimately all about intelligent path selection, but also depicted on the slide, if you're able to see that, it is about application discovery. It is about the applications and having the applications have a say in how they are deployed and accessed via the network, and being agile and flexible about doing that. So network performance monitoring, policy-driven management, all of these are absolutely critical features for a software-defined wide area networking solutions that are out in the marketplace. What we've been watching this market really since it began, and monitoring it with our studies of the market worldwide. A couple of things we've learned about early adopters who have been using it now. First of all, it really struck a chord, or it's still striking a chord, with multi-site organizations. So enterprises with lots of branch offices or small sites, it really was the initial ideal use case for the capability to very flexibly and with great agility use multiple types of network connections to link up their applications access. Some verticals that align to that, you can think of retail, with lots of different shops, retail banking, travel agents, local government. These are the areas in our studies that have risen to the top in the early days. And then initially, quite often it was about cost. It was about using business broadband connections as opposed to nailed up MPLS connections, et cetera, intelligently doing that. And indeed, that's still key, and that's still a driver in the marketplace. But increasingly, service performance and the capability to do rapid deployment and scale up quickly and to move things around quickly, the agility inherent in that is more important. And we expect to see that even more as we go forward in the next year or so. A couple facts about what we're seeing in the market right now, just to put a level set of what is happening in that. What you'll see here, if you look on this, is from a study we did last year. It's a big global study, over 4,000 enterprises. And if you can see about the left-hand side, about half, 47%, were already either has deployed some form of SD-WAN or were in the process of implementing it. Now, that initially a lot of those were small projects, but rapidly expanding beyond that. And of course, the others were either looking at it or in some sort of proof of concept stage. Another important thing, and this is rather key, is our recent customer insight study showed that over half viewed wide area networking as a large investment priority for the year. And so that means a lot of people are thinking about what to do and when to do it right now. So it's a very active, dynamic marketplace, and some of the information we have or studies we have prove that out. There we go. So the question is, in our view, what makes a great SD-WAN? And these we view as key questions for your suppliers. It really centered around footprint. Where can the provider offer SD-WAN? What are its gateways? Who are its network partners? The portal is very key. How much control do you have? How flexible is it? How easy is it to use? What information does it give to you? And then finally, security. Is your data secure over the public internet parts of your network? Is the portal itself secure? These are things that you really need to determine. And then finally, I'll wrap up my thoughts here with some key trends we're seeing. So obviously, SD branch, this concept of software-defined branch, is very much driving the market. The move to cloud virtualization, huge adoption taking place. And as I mentioned previously, this implies SD-WAN and the flexibility inherent in that as we go forward. Is there a pay-as-you-go model, a consumption model coming to networking? And finally, the integration of security solutions with your wide area networking solutions is a big focus going forward. So I'll sort of wrap it up there, my initial comments there, and start a Q&A with Rohan and Frank. Are you okay with that, Rohan and Frank? Okay, ready? Great. All right. So I'll start with you, Frank, if you don't mind. Okay. In your experience, what are the different types of customers requesting SD-WAN? Do you see some trends in terms of the types of people that you're working with?
Okay, thanks, Jerry, for the question. And first of all, I'm very happy to be there and thanks for the light on the topic. Coming back to your question, let's say that we have seen many multinational companies in the last 18 months in all kinds of verticals asking and moving forward to SD-WAN project. We are starting to see some large national accounts, especially in France, and as well some SMB. But let's say even if the global request for all this type of customer remains the same, the approach and the objectives are not exactly the same, which is quite normal regarding the fact that all companies are not moving at the same pace in their digital transformation, which is clearly an important driver in this space. To be more efficient in setting the scene of this kind of project with our customers, it is very important for us to define, first of all, the type of customers, what is the maturity regarding the cloud, what is the expectation regarding the WAN transformation and all the application transformation. So we have defined, based on our experience on a lot of customer cases, a customer adoption model, maturity model, and with 4 profiles: hybrid evolution, internet-centric, application-centric, and orchestration-centric. Let's spend 2 minutes on each of these profiles. So hybrid evolution, to start, we have quite a huge knowledge of this kind of customers as we are doing hybrid solution for many years now. And hybrid WAN solution in our customer base represents currently more than 40% of our customers. So let's say they still want to move into hybrid solution, but they want this solution to be more driven by application instead of, let's say, standard network way of driving this kind of solution. Internet-centric, these are customers which are really focused on cost effectiveness and simplification. And in this area, IT simplification is really key for cost effectiveness. Of course, using internet, and Jerry, you mentioned that in your introductions, is important to make some savings. But IT simplification is even more key for cost effectiveness for this kind of customers. And let's say internet-centric customer has already a quite important maturity in the cloud transformation for their IT. Application-centric, customer in this profile have been the pioneer for SD-WAN to POC or to deploy, to pilot with us, and to try SD-WAN technology. Why? Simply because they are strongly mature on their cloud transformation, and they have mainly decided to move their business critical application to public cloud. So it's very important for them to have a solution to ensure a high-level end-user experience while connecting their user to their cloud in the public cloud, and with a strong request in that case based on security, because using public cloud is very important for them to have a strong security solution. And last but not least, orchestration centric. Goal for this customer is really to gain agility and flexibility, things you mentioned, Jerry, but in an integrated way inside their forceful network design in order to ensure rest productivity. To do so, they want to use all the new technology, orchestration, software-defined network, virtualization, and they think that combining all this technology in their IT development and in their WAN development will provide them with the maximum of agility in their solution. So we have not been so far able to make a reliable link between these profiles and verticals, but I'm sure we will find at the end of the day.
Yeah, so I guess you have, it sounds like you wouldn't say that there's a typical SD-WAN implementation that you're doing. It sounds that there's quite a lot of variety in the way that companies go about implementing SD-WAN, correct?
Yeah. Maybe to start on that topic, and we have a slide on this one.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, thank you. So to start on that topic, let's say that we really are seeing the global means of SD-WAN is to bring an agile network platform to accelerate digital transformation projects for businesses. And SD-WAN, in that case, remains a journey with important steps to make a successful transformation. So we are helping our customers to embrace this in a step-by-step approach, starting with the due diligence phase, where we help our customer to define clear business use cases they want to achieve. We always do a proof of concept that we have set up with our partner, also with Cisco, to validate the SD-WAN design to achieve these business use cases. It is not a question of testing the technology. It's really a question of ensuring that the WAN design will deliver efficiently the business use cases predefined during the due diligence phase. Then we do, let's say, a traditional way, some pilots before rolling out the solution. And last but not least, because we are always thinking about the project, to set up the project, but there is the run phase. And in this area, I want to highlight the need to have a strong operational and network management capability, as all these new technologies, or these new WAN technologies, require a new way of managing them, as they are coming with orchestration, which is quite new, zero-touch provisioning, self-care portal, API, and other things like virtualization. So to ensure full efficiency with all these technologies, at Orange Business Services, we have designed a new operational model in which we have operational teams with high skills and strong knowledge, especially on our customer WAN design, fully backed up with highly skilled teams, able to deep dive on the technology. All this combined with new tools to be able to identify in a few seconds where an issue is coming from. And that's really an important goal to achieve, to change the operational model as well.
Right, okay. Great, thanks. So Rohan, let me throw it over to you. The customers are moving to SD-WAN or thinking about it in different ways. How do you help them move at their own pace?
So firstly, thank you for having me, Jerry. It's a pleasure to be here. So I think, like Frank said, this is such an interesting technology, and customers are adopting this at their own pace. We're seeing customers starting out by deciding what use cases they want, whether it's about security, direct internet access, or maybe it's about bandwidth augmentation, SLAs for applications. And then we work with our partners to guide them through that process. This is a very software-centric technology, and we've seen that going from this POC phase to the pilot phase is actually fairly rapid. On an average, customers take about 90 days or so to move from a POC to a pilot stage, which is very, very fast for a networking kind of business. And the way that we have seen, and we've guided hundreds, thousands of customers with our Cisco SD-WAN solution, they start off with a POC, like Frank was mentioning, and they start off with maybe 5 sites for a pilot, and then they rapidly migrate from that 5-site, 10-site pilot into hundreds of sites. And the fact that this is all done through software and it's so flexible, that the time it takes for you to go from a 5, 10-site pilot to hundreds of production deployments is extremely quick. We've had customers who have deployed 100, 150 sites a week. And when you think about that, it's a fairly staggering number, considering that in the past, if you were to do this with the traditional technologies, it would take you months to even get to a 20, 30-site deployment. So we're super excited with the kind of progress that we're seeing. And like you mentioned, a lot of customers have started this journey, and we're looking forward to kind of helping the rest of them move along this path.
Great. Thanks, Ryan. Frank, could you tell us more about a customer who's recently made the plunge with SD-WAN, and that chose Orange Business Services and Cisco solution to do that?
Okay, so our customers are moving into our flexible SD-WAN solution, which is, let's say, much more than just an out-of-the-box technology solution. Flexible SD-WAN by Orange is a global solution that guarantees reliable performance, improved security, support for multiple connection types, cost control, and high quality and user experience for business critical applications. So it is exactly, for example, what we have proposed to Siemens to transform their existing 1,500 sites in 94 countries, full MPLS configuration, into a new SD-WAN platform, which is more competitive. Important things, I think, and you mentioned it as well in your introduction, thanks to our internet access sourcing capabilities all over the world. It is a strong aspect of our global services, in addition to our capacity to deliver and to maintain SD-WAN devices anywhere in 220 countries. More secured, and security is fully integrated into our flexible SD-WAN solution. It's really an important topic. And we are able to support customers on any high-level security solution with our 1,200 security experts, 9 subs, 5 civil subs. More flexible and future-proof, thanks to virtual SD-WAN gateways to manage scalability during the transformation, as well as compatibility between SD-WAN and non-SD-WAN sites. This in addition to virtualization and orchestration. And of course, designed to Siemens, thanks to our strong SD-WAN expertise on Cisco Vistela, especially Cisco SD-WAN, with the right technology partner that Siemens has been able to choose. And for native cloud connectivity, we have the ability to define strong cloud design as well as an infinite capacity to connect to major cloud service provider with our next-gen hub. We have Siemens, which is a big customer, 1,500 sites, big site, headquarters, plants, and so on. But we are just issuing today a new press release on a customer, let's say less important customer in terms of number of sites, but they have decided to move as well with us. It's Wiener Plastic. It's 3,000 employees, headquarters in Netherlands, and they have 25 facilities across 16 countries all over the world, in all continents. And so Wiener Plastic chooses to move to flexible SD-WAN from Orange to improve agility, and it's really an important request from our customer to improve agility in managing their WAN now.
Great. Thanks. 1,500 sites, that's quite impressive, but it also brings up a very good point when you talk about all of those different links, and then you start mixing public network with private network access. It brings up the issue of security. And in fact, we've already had a number of questions already come in, Rohan, about on the security issues. So, how do you deal with security when implementing SD-WAN in the Cisco setup?
Jerry, I'm not surprised that in so many questions on this topic, because security is really a fundamental aspect of SD-WAN. SD-WAN value proposition started off with flexible connectivity and all of the use cases that you talked about, but increasingly we are seeing, and I'm sure you're seeing it as well, that without security, there is really no SD-WAN solution per se. So about 2 months ago, Cisco SD-WAN basically launched a security and SD-WAN joint solution, and we're combining our expertise of best-of-breed security products as well as best-of-breed SD-WAN products. People don't normally associate this with Cisco, but Cisco actually has one of the largest security businesses in the world, and we've taken assets from our security business, combined them with our SD-WAN stack, and now we have a single stack that's running on our portfolio of routing devices and appliances, and there are things like enterprise firewall. So this is an application-aware firewall that can identify 1,400 layer 7 applications and then essentially apply the firewall policies in the branch on those applications. The second thing that we've added to our SD-WAN code is intrusion prevention. This is based on Snort. Snort is the world's most widely deployed IPS, and it leverages the power of Cisco Talos. Cisco Talos is the world's largest commercial threat detection database, and we update these kind of threat signatures frequently. So it's almost like an antivirus that you have where we update these threats on a very frequent basis. URL filtering, especially for use cases like guest access, guest Wi-Fi. As an organization in a branch, you want to make sure that when you have guests coming in, that you can decide what URL your guest can and cannot access. And we have simplified this by having a web reputation score with 82 categories that you can pick and choose from, or we have predefined templates as well that you can choose. And these are all the kind of on-device capabilities that are fully integrated with the SD-WAN stack on our ISR routers running iOS. So you kind of get the best of routing and best of security. And then lastly but not least, cloud security. This is becoming a huge segment by itself. And we've also added support for our umbrella DNS monitoring capabilities on ISRs. So now any DNS request that comes in from the branch, we can redirect this to our umbrella cloud and ensure that it's actually not going to a malicious site or it's not going somewhere where it shouldn't go. All of this is actually done through our vManage dashboard, and we work with our partners to make sure that this orchestration can be done in hours instead of taking like weeks and months that it used to in the past. And we believe that this is a clear differentiator for our solution as compared to some of the other products that are out in the market.
Thanks. I mean, I think speaking of cloud, I mean, I think as I mentioned, cloud is a major driver that we're seeing that makes companies transform infrastructure to SD-WAN because you just need the flexibility in here. And so, how do you approach cloud connectivity? What's your view on that?
The cloud connectivity is one of the key use cases that is driving the adoption of SD-WAN. I'll split cloud connectivity into two use cases. So the first one is really about infrastructure as a service, which is connecting to public clouds, AWS, Azure being one of the market leaders here. And we believe that the cloud should be treated as an extension of your branch. So the way that you orchestrate and manage a device, a WAN edge device or a router in the branch, you should be able to manage that same type of device in the cloud. So we've partnered with AWS as well as Azure, and you can essentially give your AWS or log in with your AWS credentials. We will automatically discover your VPCs and workloads, and we will instantiate a cloud router in AWS and Azure, stitch all of that together, connect all of those pieces to your branches through single one-click automation, and make it really simple for you as a user or as an enterprise to treat your cloud as an extension of your branch. And we're seeing rapid adoption of this capability amongst a lot of enterprises because, as we mentioned multiple times, cloud is one of the primary drivers for the digital transformation. So that was infrastructure as a service. The second part of cloud connectivity is really software as a service. And we have a number of SaaS vendors which are heavily deployed around the world. Office 365 is probably the leading SaaS application out there, but we've also partnered with 13 other SaaS applications, including SAP, Google Suite, and others. And we partnered with them to provide the best path selection towards their clouds. So Office 365, for example, has multiple hosting facilities around the globe. Depending on where your branch is located, we ensure that you get the best path to that location. Another interesting thing that we do is that we're able to give you a score or on a per SaaS application basis, which uses latency and jitter to calculate that number. So for example, from your Barcelona location, if it takes you 50 milliseconds to get to Office 365, we can tell you that on an average, other users have taken 30 milliseconds, which means you're actually getting a suboptimal latency. And we can kind of move you to a different path where you would get better than the average latency if that path is available. And by kind of doing all of these different techniques, we've seen up to a 40% improvement in connectivity to Office 365 versus the traditional model of backhauling to your data center. I think these are two of the primary use cases driving cloud, and we are continuing to kind of innovate in this area.
Okay, great. So let me ask a question really to both of you, if you don't mind taking a shot at answering this. Where is this all going? You know, what is your vision of the future of network infrastructures, basically? Frank, if you don't mind, can we start with you?
Okay. So let's say that globally speaking, we are seeing two main expectations from our customers, which are driving our vision. The first one is to withdraw the WAN management, and it's very important as with all this digital transformation, application moving to the cloud, the WAN becomes, the traditional WAN, let's say, quote unquote, becomes more and more complex to manage. The second one is effectively to facilitate this strong cloud transformation. With that in mind, our vision is really to move toward artificial intelligence-driven network, covering SD-WAN, but also covering SD-LAN and cloud connectivity. This in order to bring to our customers some benefits like agility, fast and easy deployment, fast deployment of sites and easy deployment as well of new use cases. Security could be one, but we have a lot of others like application performance management and other services. Of course, business continuity, which is quite important, with more embedded and predictive security inside our network. How all this is running? Thanks to end-to-end orchestration from end user to cloud-based application, we are able to automatize our solutions. And then, let's say a bit later, but we are starting with some application on that. At a later stage, our artificial intelligence engine will process and analyze all the data coming back from the network on performance, on security, on events, and will inject new configuration into the network so that it can be instantly and automatically adapted to the right level of performance, the right level of risk, the right level of reliability. And it's very important as we have demonstrated that in November during Gartner Symposium. We are doing that with some specific deployment on artificial intelligence and big data for ops, for operational, in order to be even more reactive when it comes to running a network.
Yeah, excellent. So Rohan, obviously networking is the lifeblood of Cisco. So what is you obviously probably have a view of the vision of the future as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm actually going to kind of echo some of the comments that Frank made. We believe that this is a multi-cloud world. This is also a multi-domain world. We're seeing, campus, branch, security, WAN, all of these things coming together, all of these domains coming together. And we truly believe that Cisco is the only company that can stitch together all of these multi-domain architectures with multi-cloud, and the WAN is in the center of all this. And the reason we say this is that we're probably the only company in the world that has assets, technology assets in all of these domains. I think the future of, as we go beyond SD-WAN, is really to combine the power of SD-WAN with SD access or SD-LAN, and provide an end-to-end policy and segmentation so that you can essentially now connect any user anywhere or anything, IoT is part of this as well, to any application across any transport, wherever that application sits. So this is clearly a journey that's going to take multiple years, but I think we've had a good start to this journey, and partnering with Orange on this, and I think we are making a lot of progress. The second piece on the analytics side that Frank said is also very, very interesting. So I would just like to call out a couple of use cases that would benefit customers on the analytics side. So especially on the WAN side, you have things like capacity planning. Right? That's one of the WAN costs are high, and if you can predict when your bandwidth is going to go up, that has huge benefits for our customers. So since the SD-WAN solution is essentially monitoring all of your applications across all of your branches, we know what performance you're getting and whether it can be improved. We can actually predict and tell you that you may have challenges with Skype running in a particular branch, and those challenges could be alleviated if you increase bandwidth or if you get maybe a secondary link so that you can load balance. I think those are the kind of use cases that customers are really looking for, and we are just scratching the tip of the iceberg in terms of analytics and machine learning. I think there's a long way to go in this part and in this innovation. So super excited about kind of the future of this area.
You mentioned obviously working with customers, and I think I'd like to explore that a little bit. This idea of how do you engage with your customers in a sort of co-innovation or joint innovation model as they think about how to roll out that SD-WAN, and that would include the operations side of it. Rohan, you want to start first on that one?
So I think the way that product development has been done over the years has fundamentally changed. There was a time when we would gather requirements and then essentially develop a product. It takes us 8 or 9 months. We ship it out, and then we get feedback. It takes another 6 months to kind of act upon that feedback, and eventually, by the time a customer has deployed it or has been able to deploy it, it's been a couple of years. With the kind of agile product development model, we like to do something that we call fail fast, right? You iterate, you build something, you get instant feedback from partners like Orange, you get feedback from customers, and then you fix what doesn't work, you add things that are working, or you double down on things that are working, and essentially you can get to a much faster production cycle. So instead of taking a year or 18 months, you can start deploying in weeks and months. And that's really the only way that we can meet the requirements of this new digital world. So I think this is a very, very, very critical piece of it, like meeting customers weekly, monthly, meeting partners as often as we can is really the way going forward to develop products.
Okay. And Frank, what are your views on how to involve customers in the process? How do you work with customers in their thinking?
I don't want to rephrase what Rohan has already said, and I fully agree with Rohan on the fact that we were used to do things by 6 months, 9 months cycle without including, let's say, right from the beginning, our customers, which is totally withdrawn now as we are, for all our development, let's say, involving right from the beginning, one or more customers or partners as well, and we are doing that with Cisco, especially in our development. Specifically for SD-WAN, what we have done, and I've already mentioned that a few minutes ago in our step-by-step approach, is we have set up open labs. It's a testing environment to help and guide our customers to set up their SD-WAN solution and to help us to better understand their needs. So it's very important to have all these open labs. We have done that as a first step. We are able to design their solution. We are able to make sure that the solution, the design is fitting well with their business use cases. So it's, as I mentioned earlier, it's much more than just a technology test. It's really a way to evaluate the relevant design and to assess that we will deliver what they are expecting of the solution. And we can see that we are doing that even in the run phase when the solution is deployed, because things are moving, and as I mentioned previously, the fast evolution that our customers are expecting. So they are changing also their IT, they are replacing some applications in new cloud. So they are requesting to be able to do that also in the run solution. And to end up in this area of co-development with customers, I think that the operational model that I described before, it has been defined also in that way, of doing with customers, as they were asking us to rely on their operational team, because this operational team is knowing quite well their design, their solution, their architecture. So thanks to this feedback from our customer, we have designed this operational model with two teams, one very concentrated on the customer architecture itself, and one very expert team on the technology itself, able to deep dive very clearly on that. So the co-development with customers could go right from the beginning of a new project, a new development, could be also in the run phase, and as you mentioned, Jerry, also in the operational way of doing things.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's actually, you think about this, it's actually a three-legged chair, if you will, because there's co-development with your customers, but obviously there's work with your partners as well. And so Cisco and Orange Business Services are partners. So maybe if you could talk a little bit about how you as organizations work together driving these SD-WAN solutions. Rohan, do you want to start?
Sure. So I think this has been a great partnership between Cisco and Orange. We meet at least once a week at our level, and our teams are meeting probably multiple times a week. We have a lot of common customers, and we're working closely to make sure that what the customer needs is exactly what we're delivering. And I'm really pleased with the way that we have worked through challenges, and we've gotten kind of to the right thing for the customer. Right? So Frank and me have discussed things over the phone. We may not always agree, but at the end of the day, we both want to make sure that the customer is successful, and the use cases that the customer wants are what we are delivering. So I think we're going to go through this journey together, and it's going to be a partnership that's going to last for a number of years.
Okay, great. And Frank?
Yes, maybe to precise and to say things in a different way, we as Orange Business Services are relying on an important ecosystem of partners, and we have everlasting partners like Cisco. And due to the quick evolution of the technology, now we are moving much beyond the only go-to-market alignment in order to be able to drive and to help our customer in the right direction. But we are also doing things together, as Rohan was saying, because at the end of the day, all this brings to our customers the insurance to have the right solution, duly managed by Orange, because they are all asking to have a good management from their service provider with the right technology. And with the co-development, let's say, we can make sure that we add the first one, which is at the right speed, which is quite important for our customers to get all this at the right speed globally.
Great. Okay. Well, thank you. So now let's move to some questions from the people who have joined and been listening along. Thanks for all of that, by the way. So if you haven't already, we've got a lot of questions, but if you do have a question, be sure to enter it into the Q&A chat format. We have had quite a few already, but if you haven't, please do type them in now. And I'll start with one that came in very early in the conversation, I think off the back of something that I said in mine, but I'd like you guys to answer it. I mentioned the idea of the software-defined branch being associated with the software-defined wide area networking, and the question was, well, what's the difference? So, Rohan, do you want to take a shot at answering that?
So I think software-defined branch is a relatively new term, and it kind of incorporates all of the elements that were traditionally discrete, kind of hardware-based elements. So in a branch, you're going to have a router. You're typically also going to have potentially other networking devices like switches, access points. Then you might have appliances like security appliances, WAN optimization. And what this new term is basically doing is that you don't necessarily need all of these discrete appliances or hardwares. You can take a x86-based server solution and add VNFs that will provide you the same level of functionality. So what we are seeing now is that customers are working with partners like Orange, buying this, what we call a universal CPE device, and adding virtual network functions like SD-WAN, as well as security, WAN optimization, and these don't necessarily have to be from a single vendor. And you could buy your choice of VNFs. Clearly, Cisco provides VNFs for pretty much every networking and security use case. So when you combine all of this in kind of this x86 form factor, and you orchestrate all of this through a cloud-based management model, this whole evolution is now being referred to as SD branch.
Right. Frank, do you have anything to add to that?
Yes, maybe one thing is, again, come back to the vision of a global artificial intelligence driven network, but currently intent-based networking solution. I think SD branch is also a way to move in the convergence between what is on site and the WAN.
Right.
And it's really at the end of the day, the promise of having, starting from the user behind the LAN, or eventually with an access to the site, and moving forward to the WAN up to the application located somewhere in the cloud. So it's really this seamless capacity to have, let's say, to drive the users and the user up to the application by starting from the site up to the application in the cloud.
Okay, all right. Shifting to more of a technical question that came through. Apparently, there's a concern about the troubles people are facing that are deploying SD-WAN with troubleshooting the SD-WAN network. So I'm not sure, Rohan, do you have any thoughts on, or Frank, any thoughts on what kind of capabilities are available with the solutions you offer for, your customers troubleshooting what's going on and getting that in real time?
Yeah. I mentioned before the new operational model that we have deployed with new tools.
Yeah.
And effectively, let's say to compare, up to now, traditional solution on WAN is an appliance deploy, a connection, and to troubleshoot, you simply have to see if the connection is up or down, or if the appliance is up or down. It's quite easy. Now, with all our deployments, when you have to troubleshoot, you need to understand if it's not something around the vManage. It could be us somewhere. In our case, a managed solution is us in our own network. Could be the, let's say, the IaaS environment around the vManage to host these things. Could be the vBond, could be the appliance, it could be the appliance or a VNF inside the universal CPE, as you mentioned before, Rohan. So in order to troubleshoot, it's quite complex. So within Orange, we have developed our own tool, which is, we call it CSASIN tool, which is provided to our frontline in front of our customers. And they are able to see if everything goes well from the equipment itself, of course, from the connection itself as well, but if there is no issue in the capacity of the hosting of the vManage or on the UCP or on the DNS, on the performance of any kind of equipment in all this chain, which is much more complex than it used to be in traditional one. So it's key, and it's the reason why I mentioned that before. you need new skills, new way of managing this kind of solution because it's much more complex due to the split of all the functionality, which is due to automatization. And you mentioned that being able to roll out 100 sites by week, if you have to plug and to program all of this equipment, it will be complex.
Yeah.
So now we are making this through vManage, and we are able to simply send boxes to sites. It's plug and play. But in the contrary, we have some difficulties or complexity in the operational, in the way to troubleshoot all this solution that they globally, because it's not only to troubleshoot the equipment, it's to troubleshoot the global solution.
Right. Rohan, we had a question that came in. Are you seeing any regional differences in the adoption rate of SD-WAN? In our studies, it seems to be quite strong in both the U.S. and Western Europe. But have you observed anything in your sort of sales patterns in the different regions? And if so, maybe why?
So I think the need is everywhere. The use cases that SD-WAN brings to the table are applicable whether you are in the US or in Europe or in Asia Pacific. The speed of adoption does differ, so there is certainly the US and Western Europe traditionally has been faster to adopt new technologies, and we are certainly seeing the pace of adoption in the US and Western Europe to be among the highest, and even within Western Europe, you have Germany, UK, France being kind of the leading adopters. I think Asia Pacific has just gotten started. You have the Japans and India of the world, which are adopting this at a faster pace. But so it's basically the same trend that we have seen with other technologies. The US kickstarts stuff, followed by Western Europe, and then it kind of trickles down to the rest of the world at that rate. But I think this time, we'll see worldwide adoption for this technology to be faster than in any other cycle, just because the value prop is so apparent that there's no reason that customers won't do it. And your research kind of bears that out as well.
Yeah, the shift is happened very, very fast. It was really just something people were talking about just 2 years ago, and now it's become something that everyone's doing, actually. Franck, we had a question specifically for Orange Business Services around a regional issue. And it was, how do you handle SD-WAN in countries where IPsec is regulated or encrypted, that traffic cannot leave the country? There probably are situations like that in the Orange Business Service footprint. So,
yes.
What are your thoughts there?
Yeah, first of all, I just want to confirm that what we're saying about global adoption and national adoption is totally true, and we are seeing a lot of customer cases from our side coming from APAC region, for example, but of course US and Europe are very strong, and also EMEA region is also an important region for us. Coming back to your question, of course, we have important topic in some regulated countries like Russia, China, of course, but we have been able to deploy in this country, especially in China. We have a very important Chinese customers for which we have deployed SD-WAN everywhere in the world and in China as well. We just need to be compliant with the regulation, so it means to know the regulation, to have the ability to export and to provide as well equipment in these countries, and to make sure that the way you are using internet connection is fully compliant with the country regulation. So we have a huge experience on that, so we are able to accompany our customers even in this very difficult country to make sure we are able to deploy a solution in this country.
Okay, great. I think we have time for one more question, if you don't mind, in just a minute or two, really. And I'm just going to sort of end up with the way that you're working with customers, the way the customers are thinking about the consumption model for how is that changing with SD-WAN? Are you getting questions about thinking about things differently in terms of consumption models? So I don't know who might want to go first with that.
Maybe I'll start and you can comment.
Yeah.
So, traditional consumption models have been very transactional in the networking world. I buy a router, I buy a switch, I order 5, 10, 15 of them. With the whole software-defined networking and the transformation is going more towards a SaaS-based consumption model. And we are working through different flavors of this. So the pay-as-you-go model that you referenced in the beginning is certainly something that we are looking at doing. Customers are also looking towards a monthly billing model. And that is something that also works very well when it's offered by a service provider. So this is a really kind of interesting new type of consumption model for the networking industry as a whole, which has never kind of done this. It's always been hardware-centric, pay upfront and then get the hardware and keep that asset on your books, basically. So I think this is an interesting shift. We're working extremely closely with partners like Orange to build this kind of offer structure. And I think we'll see how this evolves over time. But you're right that this is also not just causing a technology shift. This is basically causing a business model evolution and an offer model evolution for our industry as a whole.
Yes, fully agree with Rohan. I think behind that there is a question of flexibility as well. And I think one thing which is very important, thanks to software licensing, is now we are able to change, for example, a license from one site to another one, which is already an important topic for our businesses. And of course, everything related to the monthly way of buying software or real consumption model are part of our plans. We have tested and we have launched the first full SDN and digital offer EasyGo 2 years ago based on that model. And but then it's a question of flexibility against the right pricing. So it's some important customers prefer to have a good discussion on the price, to commit on 3 years or 5 years, but then have the ability to get a lot of flexibility within this duration of the contract duration. And but it is exactly what Rohan is saying. We are working closely with Cisco to implement all these kind of models, because we need in the back-to-back to be able to buy this kind of solution on the way we are building out.
Great. So thank you very much. With that, I think we'll wrap things up. I want to first of all thank Rohan and Franck for excellent insights into where we are in the market and where things are going to be going in the future. Obviously, I want to thank the team who organized this webinar production. And then finally, thanks to all of you who joined. I'm sure both Cisco and Orange would be happy to answer any follow-up questions that you have. And with that, we'll say goodbye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.